What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Swine Overlord, entitled Entheogenesis. This is released on Gore House Productions. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of New York and California, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very technical, progressive, conceptual style of brutal death metal. Yeah. It's been a very, very fascinating trip to hear and see this band evolve from what they once used to sound like. I remember the very first time I had ever heard of Swine Overlord, and they put out a 2012 demo. It was pretty much raw, straightforward, to the point brutal death metal. There was a lot of good things going for it. And then there was an EP release entitled Anthology of Abominations, where they really took the sounds that they had on their demo and moved them along a lot forward. You could tell there was a lot of potential there. It was a very simplistic sort of sound going for it. Drum machine, guitar, guttural vocals, really solid stuff. But then moving forward to 2014, we got a grasp of what Swine Overlord were looking to accomplish with their sound with their debut album, Parables of Umbral Transcendence. This was something completely different and something out of the box. Vocally, lyrically, visually, conceptually, it was just an incredible sort of package, because this is not your typical run-of-the-mill brutal death metal band. This is a band that really takes elements of technical death metal, progressive metal, and merges it into a sound that's completely accessible and crushing at the same time. Very, very original sounding stuff too, and I don't really think there's many bands out there today like Swine Overlord doing this type of sound justice. That was a very impressive debut. But nowadays there's been a little bit of a shift change in the band lineup. There's been pretty much a new vocalist has been added to the ranks, and I was very curious to hear how this band was going to continue evolving forward with their sound. And now here we are with the second Swine Overlord album, entitled Entheogenesis. It's 14 tracks, and it clocks in at around 45 minutes in length, and pretty much if you're familiar with how things were on the first Swine Overlord record, you're pretty much going to have an idea of what's going to be done here. This album is pretty much set up into three different parts: the Creator, the Preserver, and the Destroyer. Pretty much every single chapter of this release gets set up by some really, really nice guitar playing and almost progressive sort of instrumentation. But once you get past that, you get into some songs that really convey what the Swine Overlord sound is all about. And I attribute a lot of the greatness of a record like this to the main instrumentalist behind this project, Will. He handles pretty much the guitar, the bass, and the drum programming for this record, I think. And you can tell he really does put his heart and soul into every single riff and moment of this record. His guitar playing is very, very awesome. I feel that it's improved tenfold since the last release. Really, really great, heavy, slam-orientated riffs. Very awesome technicality when it comes to the guitar playing and the bass playing. The almost technical progressive elements that you hear in small bits and pieces throughout certain songs. It really does feel varied and alive, and I love that originality about a project like this. You hear it on songs like Severed from the Godhead, Procreating the Offspring of Gods and Man, to songs like Iconoclasm and A Delusion's Paradise. Just some incredibly intricate guitar playing being done here with this record. Going now to the bass guitar, I really love how this bass guitar sounds. It's just as clear and as audible as the actual riffs that are being done on here. When you do hear the bass elements, it really does feel very solid and well established. It doesn't feel too glossy or over the top. It really does serve its purpose when it comes to the overall riff work being done here. The guitar and bass work on here are very, very solid. Like I said, this is pretty much a drum program orientated sort of release, but of course depending on how your tastes are, you'll probably enjoy something like this. I really think that the drum programming handles every song on here very well here, especially when it comes to the more lengthier sort of songs on here, going to songs like Invoking an Obsidian Liturgy, once again going to the song of Delusion's Paradise. The moments where it's fast really sounds good. The moments where it begins to feel a little bit more on the mid-pace sort of side works out very well. Once again, going to the progressive technical sort of elements of this band, I think I think these are very, very well utilized sort of drum parts, and I really think that musically, I think this is a very, very awesome release. And when it comes to the vocals, I believe this new vocalist does a really, really solid job of keeping the pace going, keeping the momentum alive, and he really does showcase a lot of great skills here. Very well worded, very articulate, but still very guttural and very nasty sounding. I like his mid-range sort of growls, his lows, his highs, when both vocal styles are layered together. I really do think he delivers a very marvelous vocal performance. And I do believe there are a couple of guest appearances on this record. I want to say on the track Invoking an Obsidian Liturgy, you have Tim from the band Paroxysmal Butchering on there, and on the song Altars of a Putrid Resurrection, I believe you have Jordan from Disentomb on there. Both vocalists are very distinctive and recognizable, and you can easily tell what they sound like, and they do very, very fine jobs on here. But as far as this current vocalist is concerned for Swine Overlord, he does a really, really tremendous job here, and I commend him a great deal for a record like this. So overall, I think this band is continuing to grow along with their sound and their style. I honestly think that what they could be working on next could top the two albums that Swine Overlord already have put out, and I'm very curious to hear what a future for a band like this is. This is some really original and out-of-this-world stuff, and if you are a fan of the first Swine Overlord record, I think you're going to find something to enjoy with Entheogenesis. This is some very impressive, brutal death metal, really different from the pack, but I like that they try to think outside of the box. So if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Severed from the Godhead, Procreating the Offspring of Gods and Man, Iconoclasm, A Delusion's Paradise, the Altars of a Putrid Resurrection, and the closing track, Gazing into the Shadows of Ma. Really, really impressive stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you a link in the description box to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will leave you a link to the Gore House Productions Bandcamp page. You can stream this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can stream it digitally, and it is available in a physical CD. Very nicely done layout, professionally done here. Great booklet with nice artwork and lyrics. I believe there is also t-shirt options available. I think there's flags, and I think there is a tin with a patch. Get it however you're able to. So let me show you the album again. This is Entheogenesis by Swine Overlord. This is released on Gore House Productions. Go support this. And for a score, I'm gonna give this a pretty solid 8.5 out of 10. Very awesome release from Swine Overlord, and I think they're only going to get better from here. So if you happen to have heard this album, definitely let me know what you think about it and how you feel about it and how you think it compares to the previous Swine Overlord album, or any of you guys into Swine Overlord. Definitely let me know. I'm gonna conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until next time, Army Hill out.